Reykjavik, the Arctic capital that feels less like a capital and more like someone's well-curated Pinterest board that came to life. You land here expecting maybe a windswept outpost with a couple of puffin shops and a lot of sweaters made from very scratchy wool, but instead, you find a small city that somehow manages to punch way above its weight in food, art, nightlife, and yeah, even literature. It's quirky, it's cosmopolitan, and it has the kind of creative energy that makes you think, all right, people who live through months of darkness have to invent ways to stay entertained. And oh, they have. Now, before we get into the good stuff, quick PSA. If you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe, and smash the little bell thingy so you don't miss future episodes. Also, every single place I mention, bars, spas, art museums, that one bakery that might change your life, they're all listed in the description below so you can build your own trip without scrambling for names while you watch. Cool? Cool. Let's start with the obvious. Reykjavik isn't about big blockbuster attractions. There's no Eiffel Tower, no Colosseum, no Times Square. Thank God. What Reykjavik does have is texture. Weird little nooks, public pools that double as community therapy, record stores that smell faintly of beer and dust, and cinnamon rolls that are less a pastry and more an event. And if you're in your 20s or 30s, you're going to feel right at home, because the whole city operates on that sweet spot between cozy tradition and experimental edge. When you first walk around Reykjavik, you notice two things. One, it's small. Like, you can cross the downtown core in 15 minutes if you don't stop to look at anything. Two, it's colorful. Houses painted in Crayola shades, mustard yellow, mint green, fire truck red, scattered around streets with names you'll probably butcher, but the locals will smile politely and nod anyway. My first morning here, I made the mistake of trying to pronounce Skóla Vörðustígur before coffee. The barista blinked 3 times and just said, Rainbow Road. Yeah, stick with Rainbow Road. And Rainbow Road leads up to the city's most famous landmark, Arngrímsgata. You can't miss it. It's the giant concrete church that looks like a rocket ship, designed by brutalist architects after a particularly inspiring geology class. Its facade is modeled after basalt columns, those hexagonal rock formations you see at waterfalls around the country. You can go up the tower for views over the city, but honestly, the exterior is the showstopper. Across the way, there's a sculpture garden by Einar Jónsson, Iceland's most famous sculptor. His work is big, surreal, and vaguely spooky in that, am I about to get cursed kind of way? And it's free, which in Iceland is basically the travel equivalent of spotting a unicorn. Now, if you want to dive deeper into Icelandic culture, and trust me, you do, head to the World of Words exhibition at the Árni Magnússon Institute. This opened recently after being closed for a decade, and it's basically the holy grail of Icelandic manuscripts. We're talking sagas, Eddas, the entire record of Norse mythology. It's like stepping inside the country's brain. I went in expecting some dusty old books under glass, and instead got an immersive, funny, and surprisingly slick exhibition that made me realize Iceland's medieval monks were basically the original content creators. If history's your thing, the National Museum across the street is worth it too. It's chronological, comprehensive, and full of little details that tell the story of a country that managed to survive centuries of cold, isolation, and volcanic drama. Iceland's not a place with ancient castles or pyramids. The manuscripts are their cathedrals, and that's pretty poetic. Okay, let's talk about bathing. And not in a gross, hostile shower flip-flops way. Bathing culture in Iceland is an institution. Pools here aren't just about swimming laps. They're about community, gossip, relaxation. Almost every neighborhood has its own, but Laugardalslaug is the mothership. Picture hot tubs of all shapes and temperatures, a sauna, a cold plunge, and an Olympic lap pool, just casually chilling outside, perfectly heated. Hygiene is taken very seriously, as in you're required to strip down and scrub yourself completely naked in the showers before you're allowed in. Everyone does it, no one cares. It's liberating after about 5 seconds of awkwardness. On the more glamorous side, there's Hvammsvík, about 45 minutes from the city. It's a fjord-side spa built right on natural hot springs with wooden walkways, tide pools, and yes, a swim-up bar because apparently Icelanders also like their geothermal wellness with a side of cocktails. It's the kind of place where you lose track of time, floating between hot pools and cold plunges while staring at mountains that look photoshopped. Speaking of views, if you wander out to Grota, the westernmost tip of the peninsula, you'll get sweeping ocean panoramas, migratory birds, and maybe even seals. There's also a little heated footbath called kavika, which is basically the definition of Icelandic minimalism. A tiny hot pot carved into the rocks, designed by an artist where you can just sit and soak your feet while the lighthouse blinks in the background. When I went, the sun was setting at midnight, or at least it looked like it was trying to. The whole horizon glowed pink, then orange, then just hovered in this endless dusk. Surreal doesn't even begin to cover it. Now let's pivot to food, because Reykjavik's food scene has quietly leveled up in the past decade. This is no longer a land of dried fish and desperate survival rations. Sure, you can still find the infamous fermented shark, hakarl, which tastes exactly like ammonia-soaked regret. Sigrifen by the harbor will serve it to you with a shot of Brennivin, their local schnapps, which is basically like saying, here, chase this bad decision with another bad decision. But honestly, try it once. The bragging rights are worth it. Sigrifen's real draw is the langoustine soup. Creamy, briny, somehow comforting even when you're sitting in a wooden shack with plastic trays. Their fish skewers are solid too. And if you want to taste Iceland's obsession with lamb, Thrir Frakar is your spot. It looks like your grandma decorated it. Lace curtains, taxidermy. But the lamb is cooked the way Icelanders have eaten it forever. Unpretentious, hearty, drenched in creamy pepper sauce. On the flip side, Reykjavik is also leaning hard into plant-based, global, and sustainable. Kamuri is this small, almost eccentric cafe doing vegan pierogi that slap harder than they have any right to. Think dal pierogi, chile sin carne pierogi, smoked tofu pierogi. It's like Polish tradition had a love child with Icelandic innovation, and it works. For breakfast or a sugar hit, Browdog Co. is legendary. Their cinnamon rolls, these gooey, buttery spirals the size of your head, will make you rethink your life choices in the best possible way. Pro tip, get there early because they sell out fast. Pair it with a flat white from Coffee Olé, which roasts its beans locally, and you're basically having the perfect Reykjavik morning. If you're more into desserts with a twist, Omnom is the place. It's technically a chocolate company, but their ice cream sundaes come topped with chocolate pieces shaped like animals, or monsters if you customize your own. When I went, I ended up with a sundae that looked like a polar bear had just face planted into a mountain of sprinkles. It felt ridiculous, and it was perfect. For a proper night out, Skal is the sweet spot between casual and fine dining. Their cod wings, which are literally the fins of the fish, fried and dressed in smoky buttermilk, are genius. Pair that with natural wine and you've got yourself a memorable dinner without selling a kidney. If you do want to sell a kidney, book Ox. Michelin-starred, 20 courses, wine pairing so good they could make you cry. It's small, exclusive, and costs more than your flight, but people swear it's one of the best meals of their lives. Nightlife here has its own flavor. Icelanders don't mess around. They pre-game at home, then head out late, and once payday hits, the whole city goes feral. You've got options: natural wines at Vinstuken, beers and folk jams at Egir, cocktails at Jungle, dancing at Paloma. My personal move was hitting Jungle for bougie cocktails, then stumbling across the street into Lemmy, which has more taps than sense, and the kind of energy that feels like you're at a college house party run by Vikings. At some ungodly hour, you'll probably find yourself in line for a hot dog. Bejarin's Beztu is the famous one, but honestly, it's the same hot dog you can get at any convenience store. Don't overthink it. Just add crispy onions. And when you wake up hungover, go to Prekid. It's a dive bar at night, brunch savior in the morning. Their truck breakfast is a chaotic pile of eggs, bacon, pancakes, potatoes, skyr, and endless coffee. It's the kind of plate that laughs in the face of moderation and cures what ails you. Now, Reykjavik isn't all food and spas. Shopping here has a distinct personality too, if you dodge the tourist traps. Skip the puffin keychains and check out Skalda, a bookstore with thoughtful English selections and Icelandic translations. Bókin is more chaotic, stacked floor to ceiling with dusty gems. Salka doubles as a publisher, bookstore, and bar where you can sip wine while browsing. For music, Lucky Records is a graffiti-covered cave full of vinyl. 12 Tonar mixes records with a bar and couches where musicians just hang out. And Smekleisa is tied to Bjork's old band, the Sugar Cubes. Fishersund is maybe the most interesting shop of them all. Part perfumery, part gallery, part record label, run by Sigur Rosas Jónsi. It's a sensory overload in the best way. Now let's talk about where to crash. Reykjavik has options, but the vibes vary wildly. If you want central, stylish, and don't mind a price tag that could pay your rent, the Iceland Parliament Hotel is a whole complex of revamped historic buildings tied together into a maze of rooms, a spa, and a ballroom. It's fancy, it's polished. It's basically Reykjavik's answer to a boutique mega hotel. For something cozier and friendlier to your wallet, Guesthouse Galtafell is a solid bet. It's in a castle-like former home of an Icelandic painter, tucked on a quiet street near the city pond. Minimal but comfortable, and it feels personal in a way bigger hotels can't replicate. If you're just here to meet people, party, and maybe not sleep much, Loft Hostel is your best friend. The dorms are basic, but the rooftop terrace is where locals and travelers collide whenever the sun peeks out. The bar gets lively, the social space is cavernous, and you'll probably leave with a new set of friends from at least 3 different continents. And here's a heads up. Reykjavik has had a love-hate relationship with Airbnbs. The rental market is a mess, so if you're booking an apartment, make sure it's legally registered. Downtown, Vesturbæjar, and Austurbæjar are your best neighborhoods. All walkable, all within easy reach of the good stuff. Getting around? Easy. Reykjavik is small, so walking covers most of it. Electric scooters are everywhere. Annoying, yes, but handy. Buses work fine. You can pay with a credit card, though they're pricier than you'd expect. Taxis? Forget it. Outrageously expensive. Rental cars only make sense if you're heading out of the city. The beauty of Reykjavik is that it's manageable. It's a capital city you can actually get to know in a few days without feeling like you've missed a mountain of must-sees. And that gives you space to actually enjoy it. To wander into a record shop, soak in a hot pool with strangers who end up telling you their life stories, or spend an hour deciding which cinnamon roll flavor will ruin you in the best way. I'll be honest, Reykjavik surprised me. I expected it to be a quick layover city, a stop on the way to glaciers and volcanoes. But it has its own gravitational pull. The art, the food, the casual weirdness of it all, and it's enough to make you want to linger. So yeah, if you're planning a trip, don't just treat Reykjavik as a launch pad. Stay, explore, get a little lost, and let it surprise you. And remember, all the places I mentioned, from the sagas to the spas to the bars that may or may not destroy you, they're all listed in the description below. Save the ones you like, add them to your map, and build your own adventure. Alright, that's it for this one. If you found this useful, do me a favor. Like the video, hit subscribe, and share it with someone who'd totally get lost with you in Reykjavik. Until next time, stay curious, stay caffeinated, and don't be afraid to chase the weird stuff.